Hey Pilates Party people, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline, a certified Pilates and yoga instructor here in Christchurch, New Zealand. Today's practice is a full body reformer workout focusing on the adductors, also known as the inner thighs. In order to get into a lot of those adductor series, we are going to use the ring. So placing your ring just onto the foot bar, let's set up our reformer and get this party started. Headrest is going to be lifted, foot bar is also going to be lifted, and we'll pop the hood, checking at our springs, making sure that you have one heavy, one medium, one light spring for level 1. So that's one heavy, one medium, one light spring for level 1. And level 2, we have 2 heavy, 1 light. So 2 heavy, 1 light spring. Let's take that ring and let's come onto our back body. So starting out with single leg footwork, lengthening nice and long onto the spine, head onto the headrest. We'll pop both those feet into the ring up over the hips. Take an underhand grip on that ring. Exhale, heels reach up to the sky, toes drape down towards the chest, the shoulders soften, the back of the hips feel heavy, and the tail goes nice and long. Option here, if it's quite sensational today for you, a soft to generous bend into those knees. Otherwise, kicking the heels up towards the sky, the toes towards the chest, taking 3 more breaths just here, landing onto your reformer, into your body, your mind, and your breath. On your next inhale, we'll take a nice big belly breath into the body. Exhale, take that left foot out of the ring. Heel lands onto the foot bar, just under the hip. Right heel lifts up to the sky, toes point towards the chest, and the shoulders melt into the shoulder sockets. On the next exhale, we press out nice and long through that left heel, keeping that right heel lifted. Inhale, folding back towards the stoppers, gliding back and forth. Use that breath. Exhale, pressing out. Inhale, folding in. Allowing the back of the hips to feel a sense of weight, especially as you draw back towards the stoppers. Allowing the tail to feel that length nice and long through the spine. The shoulders nice and soft, and the back of the head feels that weight as well. Softening in, letting go of any tension. As you find your next exhale to press out nice and long, we'll pause. Inhale, folding in just halfway. We'll do a double pulse here at that midway line, pressing up 2 inches. Inhaling down 2 inches. 1 more time. And as you exhale, press out nice and long with that control. Inhale, folding in halfway, double pulse. 1. And 2. Exhale, all the way out. 1 more time. Nice and long with that leg. Folding in just halfway, just those pulses. Continuing to keep that control. Showing yourself you can do it nice and slow. You can do it with that control. Last 8. 7. 6. Last 2. And 1. Next time you press out nice and long. Whoo! Folding back towards the stoppers. Both legs pop up into that ring once again. Keep that underhand grip. Option to bend the knees, option to lengthen the heels. An option here to fold into one knee, stretch out, kick up through the opposite heel. And to the other side, finding a little bit of a marching series. Back of the hips feel heavy, tail is long, Last 2 breaths. Both heels reach up to the sky. And let's take the right foot onto the foot bar, just under the hip. Make sure those heels land hip-width distance apart. That left heel kicks up towards the sky, option for that soft bend. Exhale, press out nice and long. Inhale, folding in. Continue here with that nice strength through the legs, that control through the movement. Inhaling to draw in and exhaling to press out. 4 more. Allowing the tailbone to reach out nice and long, the hips to feel nice and heavy. The back of the ribs settling in, melting into that reformer. As you draw in, only drawing in halfway this round. 1 pulse, 2 pulse, and that full press. So it's nice and slow. Double pulse. And that full press. Last one with that double pulse. Next time you fold in halfway, pausing here. Just that up and down pulse. We can feel that quad. Second side always hits a little different. I'm right here with you. Keep it slow. Keep that control. Feeling that strength. Last 3. Last 2. And then press out nice and long. Hoo-wee. Drawing all the way back into the stoppers. Both legs reach up into that ring. Maybe finding that nice pedal back and forth. Maybe finding a sway into the hips. Maybe finding a little bit of release and just folding into the knees. Allowing this to be your cool down. Finding your breath. We'll keep the ring into the hands, reaching over the chest, but fold the knees in, taking the heels onto the foot bar. Taking that ring over the chest here, we'll plug those shoulders in. And then as you exhale, we have that exhale pressing us away. Pausing in that length. We're going to baby step all the way down that foot bar, all the way to the tippy toes, the big toe mound, the pinky edge, but take your time to get there. Massage on the other side of the foot. And then walking all the way back up to the heel. Tiny baby steps, knowing where is sensitive, where feels sensational. Is it the arches of the feet? Is it around the big toe mound? Towards the top of the arch, bottom, mid, heel? There's no right or wrong answer, just where you're feeling this the most today. Maybe it's in the left-hand side or the right. Next time you draw your awareness down onto the toes, wrapping the big toe mound, the pinky edge of both heels onto that foot bar. Lift the heels up towards the glutes, finding your high heel. From here, we're going to fold into the right knee and reach around with that left heel. Find that calf stretch. Reaching back up into both feet, having that high heel. And then the other side, wrap that right heel under. Reaching up and wrap. We'll find a little tricep dip with that ring. So next time you find the high heel, pause, wrapping one ankle under as you find that tricep dip. Reaching up, other side, tricep dip. Taking it slow. Keeping that control. Elbows just staying right where they are, just over the shoulders. Just the forearms want to move, rocking up and down. If you want one extra layer here, finding those pecs a little bit more. After you find that tricep dip, as you reach the heels and the arms up, squeeze that ring in between, and then find that tricep dip. Squeeze in between, and find that tricep dip. Last 4 here. Once you've evened out the sides, pausing at the top with those high heels and fold back into the stoppers. Really, really well done. Taking that ring just off to the side, drawing those knees into the chest. Have a little rock or sway from side to side. Massaging the back of the hips. Last 2 breaths here. Finding your way into a figure 4, take the heels back onto the foot bar, hip width distance apart, lifting that right leg up, almost as if you're kicking a hacky sack with that inside of the heel. Drape that outside of the heel onto the opposite knee, or just below. Option to stay here, option to gently press the right knee away. Option to draw the left knee into the chest, wrap into an underhand grip under the thigh, or an overhand grip onto the front of the shin. Last 2 breaths. Tail stays nice and long. Back of the hips stay nice and heavy. Back to center. Heels back onto the foot bar as you uncrisscross applesauce. Lift the left leg. Find your figure 4, your variation. There's no right or wrong, and it might look different from side to side. That is A-okay. That's why we're here, to check it out, to work with our body, not against it. Last breath. Draw the heels back onto the foot bar, uncrisscross the leg, and take the hands onto an underhand grip. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders, rocking it all the way up into a seated position. We're gonna change those spring loads. So from here, we have a spring load option. So we are going to get into those arms, those obliques. We have a side kneeling arm series. We have 3 options here. Level 1 being 1 light spring. Level 2 being on 1 light spring, but that second tier on those stacks. Level 3 being a nice medium spring. So we have those 3 levels again. Level 1 starting out with 1 light, 1 highlight for level 2, or that level 3 with a medium spring. Find what feels good to you, closing the hood, and coming on to your high kneel, facing towards the side of your reformer. Making sure the outside of the knee is just up against the shoulder rest. Kneeling here, we have some options. We have a low kneel, we have a high kneel, or an option here, if the knees have had enough already, you can always sit onto a box. Taking the short loop that's just right beside you, and lifting up into your variation, or staying in that variation with a low kneel. Hands are gonna draw out in front of the chest, clasp the hands together, elbows are going to be wide. Imagine holding a basket or a bubble here in the heart center. We're gonna reach the crown of the head up to the sky. Really nice work. Soften the shoulders into the back pocket. And as you exhale, we're gonna keep the hips nice and square, but we're gonna rotate through the thoracic or mid-spine area. Inhale back to center. Hands stay at heart center, so that might reduce the range here, but that is a-okay. We're really looking at that mid-spine, kind of like a corkscrew here. Inhale back to center. You can even imagine a towel, and we're wringing out that breath like we would wring out that water from that towel. Last two. This time, we'll find that rotation, pause, tiny little pulses, 2 inches and back 2 inches. Keep the hands in front of the heart, the hips nice and square. And we don't want a bouncy 2 inches pulse. We want a glide, so we keep it nice and slow. Last 2. And then draw back to center. From here, we keep those hands in that bubble or that basket, and we'll rotate towards the riser. So rotate in the opposite direction, drawing back to center. Exhale, rotate towards the foot bar. Inhale, exhale to the risers. Inhale, exhale towards the foot bar. You've got it. As you draw back to center, pausing here, drape those arms just in front of the pelvis. We're going to take a half moon here. So the shoulders are gonna roll back into the back pocket. The ribs are going to knit together, 2 sides of the ribs towards the midline. As you exhale, we're going to rotate, taking the arms towards the foot bar, and then all the way up, overhead. Pause here. And then take them all the way back down, rounding towards the foot bar, and then rounding down to the front of the pelvis. Now we know it, we find that exhale. Inhale at the top, exhale. All the way back down. Whew. It would be so much easier if we could do a full circle, but not today. We love a challenge. Last one. All right. Taking that strap just into the peg or that head shoulder rest. Head rest can be lowered or lifted. I like to have it a little lower for this one. Not that it matters, and we're not going to be anywhere near it, but just a preference. Taking that outside knee up against the shoulder rests. And that inside leg closest to that riser or closest to that rail, pointing towards the riser at the back of the reformer. Knee is going to track over the ankle here. And if you find that you're bowing into that knee as we come into those inner thigh series, bowing over that riser knee, always walking that foot a little bit further away from you, so you don't have a chance to roll over it. Hands are going to float onto the hips. Find where feels comfortable to you. And as you exhale, just that carriage and just that leg on the carriage are going to pull under the hip. Feeling that lift, inhale, release. So you can find a little bit of a pelvic floor lift as well. As you exhale, drawing that knee under the hip, hugging up and in. Inhale, release. So again, if we're really pulling through that standing leg, we're not doing the inner thigh work that we want to be doing. So we keep that leg in a block of ice and just pull that knee under. Making it harder for ourselves. We love a challenge. We're here for 4. As you draw in, next time you release, we'll take those arms to first position out in front. Option to keep them on the hips, Hands then are going to draw out in front if it feels good. As you exhale, lifting those arms to fifth position, and then inhale, drawing back. Last 5. Last 4. Knowing that we're on the same spring, so if you have a heavy spring, this is going to feel quite intense. You're doing well. You're always welcome to change down. You're always welcome to change up. Next time you reach those arms over the head, the knees under the hip, pausing here, tiny little pulses for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Take the hand that's closest to the front of that carriage, wrap it around the front of that carriage. Top hand onto top hip, take that leg back into the well. We're going to exhale to lift that top leg up. Inhale, tap leg down. 5. Last 4. Last 3. 2. And 1. Lift that top arm, lift that top leg, reach the top arm towards the front of the room. And as you exhale, bend the elbow towards the knee. Inhale, reach it nice and long. Exhale. Inhale. Last 2. Last 1. Reaching out, stepping into the well here. Whew. Roll out those shoulders. Take the hands onto the railing to the shoulder rest, stepping into the well. Stepping all the way back. Take your time to get here. The first time I did it, I wasn't as graceful. So take your time. Inhale, reach those arms up overhead. And as you exhale, almost rounding as if you're wrapping yourself over a barrel here. Rounding into that forward fold, but take the hands onto the shoulder rests, rolling onto the tippy toes. Scoop the tail and ripple through the spine, waving forward. Finding your plank. Option here to find your swan, tipping the pelvis down towards the headrest, opening the heart through the shoulders, or option to stay in that plank. Find what feels good to you. As you exhale, nod the chin to the chest, ripple all the way back into that forward fold. Continue to drape the hands on the shoulder rest, the chest draw down towards the thighs. One more time. Inhale, rolling onto the tippy toes, scoop the tail under, ripple like a wave into that plank, or dipping that pelvis down, open the heart. Exhale, we'll round through, finding that forward fold. This time walking the hands along the rails and rolling back up to standing. Shake out those shoulders. Whew. All right, we're going to be facing away from each other, but we're finding it all again on the other side. So keep that same spring load and let's go ahead and get this party started. Starting with the kneeling arm series, option to grab that box to be seated on the box, low kneel, or an option for that high kneel. We have the same spring load as you did on the other side. So let's take a nice barrel out in front of you, or a basket or a bubble, hands clasped at heart center, elbows bow out, punching the fingertips slightly forward. Finding that rotation as you exhale, imagine that thoracic spine just rotating for you. The hips stay nice and square. Imagine wringing out that towel. We have about 6 here, but use that breath. Inhaling back to center and exhaling, feeling that rotation. The shoulders are nice and soft. The crown of the head is reaching up towards the sky. Second side always hits a little different. Slow is strong. Last one. We have those pulses. So from here, we rotate towards the foot bar, those 2 inches back, 2 inches forth. Last 3 pulses, slow and strong, showing that control. Last 1. We'll rotate back to center. And then as you exhale, rotate towards the risers, the back of your reformer. Inhale back to center. Exhale towards the foot bar. Inhale back to center. Exhale towards the risers. Check in on that basket and where those hands are, making sure the hands are just in front of the shoulder or just in front of the chest. The shoulders are in the back pocket. And we're feeling that rotation from that mid-spine. One more time, we'll find that half moon. Drawing down towards the front of the pelvis. Those shoulders are going to roll up, back and down. Into the back pocket they go. We're going to follow it with that gaze, but the hands are going to reach out towards the foot bar and big circle sweep all the way up overhead, pausing here. Drawing all the way back down to the foot bar, rounding out the edges, and all the way back down to the front of the pelvis. Exhale. Inhale at the top. Exhale. Inhale at the bottom. Using that full exhale, drawing that crescent moon or that half moon. Last 2 here. Really well done with control. Taking that strap just into the shoulder rest or that peg. Now we're going to stay on the same spring load once again. If you did change it on the other side for the inner thigh series, you're more than welcome to change it back, always keeping the same spring as you did on the other side. But otherwise, you keep the same spring load. It's going to work for us. So we keep that knee and that ankle in alignment, walking the leg a little bit further forward towards the riser. If we're starting to bow into that knee, instead of drawing that standing leg or that standing knee under us. So find what feels good to you. Hands start out at those hips. Roll the shoulders up, back and down, reaching through the crown of the head and the tail down. As you exhale here, draw that knee under. Inhale, release. Exhale. Inhale. You can feel that pelvic floor lift as well as the knee draws under, hugging in under that hip. Feeling that hugging sensation draw up and in through the lower abdominals. Feeling that soft lift and remembering to release. As you draw out that standing knee, take the hands to first position just in front of the pelvis. And as you exhale, hug that knee under the hip, reach those arms all the way up overhead. Inhale, down towards the front of the pelvis. First position with those arms to fifth position over the head. The second side feels a little bit more fatigued. So just being aware where the body is in space. Last one. This time as you reach those arms overhead, hugging that knee under the hip, we have those pulses. Keep the arms lifted, just bowing out through that standing knee and drawing under. Finding that pulse here for 4. Last 3 counts, however slow or however fast you're going. Last count here. And release. Taking that bottom hand or the hand closest to the front of that carriage onto the front of that carriage, wrapping the toes around or the fingertips around. Toes are in the well. Hand can be on the hip or overhead. Find what feels good to you. Send the pelvis slightly forward as you exhale, lift. Inhale, tap. We have 4. 2. Last count here. Next time you lift that leg up, pause, reach that top arm up and over, and then pulling elbow to knee. Reaching out, inhale, exhale. Keeping that leg lifted. Try to keep it at hip height. Last 2. Last 1. Reaching out. All right. Whew. Take that foot into the well and stepping all the way back in. Maybe a little bit more gracefully this time. We have that nice roll down. So inhale, reach those arms. We know where we're going. Exhale, up and over that imaginary barrel. Take the hands onto the shoulder rests. Once you get nice and comfy, cozy, inhale, rolling onto the tippy toes. Scoop the tail, ripple through the spine like that wave, that plank, or that nice swan, shine the heart. Exhale, wherever you are, we nod the chin, slowly ripple back through the spine, draping the heels down, chest melts towards the tops of the thighs. Inhale, rolling onto the tippy toes, scoop the tail, ripple through the spine. Exhale, into your plank or into that swan. Next time we're rolling back. Once those heels land, we'll walk those hands on the rails, finding your forward fold at the back of that reformer. Drape the hands into the well here. Head is nice and heavy. Shoulders are a little loosey-goosey. Softness in the knees. Inhale. Exhale. Generous, gently bent knees. Roll the pelvis over the tops of the thighs and start to stack the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Inhale, reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, draping down to the side. We have one more move here. A little bit of a faster movement to build that heart rate up just at the end of practice. So if you'd like to join, take that foot bar semi down, wherever it clicks in first. We're taking crouching tiger. So draw the knees onto the carriage towards the front edge or the back edge of that reformer. Hands are going to clasp around those shoulder pads. Shoulders and elbows are in alignment. Tuck those toes under. Option here to find a Pilates V. Heels together, knees slightly bow out to the side. Tuck those toes. Option here for a narrow leg, making sure that the toes are just right under those sit bones. All right, find what feels good. I'm going to take that Pilates V version. So as you exhale, lift and hover those shins, and then press out nice and long, zipping up the inner thighs if you're in a Pilates V. Inhale, folding in, all the way back. Now this is going to build that heart rate up, so press through the forearms. Use that exhale. Exhale, press. Use that exhale. Exhale, press. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Folding in. Really, really nice. Nice light spring load for that. Whew. All right, you are done and dusted. Well done today, team. Not a lot of spring changes. Sometimes that made it more difficult in spaces and places. Let me know how you felt. Let me know how the springs worked for you and your reformer, and I'll see you next time. Bye.